How's it going, everybody? Welcome to today's stick mobility class. I am Coach Ray. Thank you for joining me. So for today's class, we are going to need access to all three sticks, two long and one short. In terms of equipment for what we are going to need, two sliders or couch sliders, whatever you happen to have access to. We are going to be getting into a push-up position. I'm going to show you ways to further utilize, at least while doing a push-up, a way to internally rotate in order to really further create more tension in that arm line. We're still working on that. And we're also going to use a TRX. We're going to get into a little bit of fun stuff. Again, still working with that arm line. However, we're going to get into a few different exercises. One of those being a curled variation, another being a reverse fly or T-row variation, and another one was actually going to be a tricep extension variation, where we are going to be kind of in a plank position. So we're going to get into some fun stuff. We're mostly working with upper body for the strength training aspects, but we're going to go through a full body warm up. We're going to start from the top down. I'm going to start with the short stick here. I'm going to have about roughly a shoulder width grip here, maybe a slight bit wider, toes are pointed forward, fingertips at the ends of the stick here. We're going to start with kayaking. It's kind of loosen up the shoulders. I'm going to start with my right hand up. I want to keep both elbows straight. I'm going to drive that right hand through. Left hand comes up and over, then drive that left hand through. Nice and slow, keep it controlled. We're going for movement and quality of movement. We want to feel that shoulder blade gliding along the rib cage here. Keep it nice and slow. And another tip is, think about keeping the stick close to the body as you do this. It's effectively rubbing against my body the entire time. You want to keep it nice and close. Let's go backwards here. There you go. I want to try to get as much range as you can. Get into that overhead position here. Breathe. Shoulder blade should slowly start to loosen up here. 3, 2, 1, and ease off. Excellent. We're going to get into pendulums now. Now from this one, we want to make sure that we're driving with one arm into that top position. As we get into that top position, we do want to make sure that we're driving that top hand down a little bit just to create a little bit of compressive force here. So we're going to be in that same stance. Toes are forward, both fingertips still on the ends of the stick. If you'd like, you can always fully grip the end as well. So from here, I'm going to drive that right hand towards my center line. Left arm comes up and over. Bring it up as high as you can. Make sure you're creating compressive force on the stick. Only about 20%. Then I'm going to bring that left hand down, and I'm going to switch. I'm going to push with that left hand towards my center line. Right arm comes up and create that compressive force here. Excellent. Down. Left hand comes up. Compress. We're not creating a lot of tension here. Left hand comes down. Right hand comes up. Compress. Excellent. Back down. Left hand comes up. Compress. Back down. And right hand comes up. Compress. Excellent. Back down. And ease off. Excellent. We're going to place the short stick down. We're going to go with the two long sticks. We're going to start off with a double hang. We want to brachiate, really get a decompression in the spine, as well as opening up those shoulders. I'm going to start with my right foot forward. Both sticks are behind the line of my heel on my right foot. Left foot is back. You can always wiggle that foot back a little bit further if you need to get a little bit more of a split. I'm going to have my hands at the top of the sticks here. I'm going to get a rope grip. The sticks are out relatively wide as well. Drive those sticks into the floor about 20%, nice and light, and keep that tension as you go into that hang. Hold this position here. You don't need to squeeze that left glute. Come up, nice and slow, and ease off. And we're going to do that again. we're driving the sticks down, creating that force is going to put us in a taller position here. Lightly drive the sticks down, slowly lower yourself into it. Breathe. Should be feeling a little bit of tension in the lats, that's okay. So we're going for it here. Should be feeling a nice good stretch in the front of that left hip. Get some decompression in the shoulders. Slowly come up and ease off. Let's switch sides here. And that same thing, lightly drive the sticks down, sink into it. Nice and easy. You want to keep control of that front leg. You don't want the knee to be moving in and out. You want to keep it stacked over midfoot here. Back up, ease off. Let's go one more time. Drive those sticks down lightly. Sink into it here. Remember, we want to keep a nice active hang. It's okay if the hands come together. Excellent. Slowly ease off. And relax. Perfect. Now we're going to work with rotation on the spine. So I'm going to place one stick down. And I'm going to use the ramp here. You can use this as if it's the corner of a wall. Something stable for you to kind of drive the stick into. Also something for it to anchor into here. Now I'm going to stand far enough back from the wall, and this is a long stick here. I'm going to stand far enough back from the wall that the stick effectively rests right where that soft part of the tissue is, or right where the collarbone is. That's how you know you're actually at the right distance here. You can always move in and out as you need to. I'm going to have both hands on the stick. And I'm going to take a pretty wide stance here, wider than shoulder width, toes are still pointed forward. And I'm going to squeeze my glutes. I want to keep my glutes nice and tight here to lock the lumbar into position. Both hands are going to be stacked over one another. I'm going to start by rotating to my left, so my right hand is stacked over my left. And from here, I'm going to lightly drive the stick down, nice and easy, about 20%. And then I'm going to rotate the stick over to the left. So we're going to get a lot of rotation in that T-spine here. Back up. Excellent. So lightly driving that stick down 20%. Rotate the stick over to the left. We want to feel like your right shoulder is pointing forward, left shoulder is going back. Back up. Excellent. Let's go again. Breathe. Arms are straight. Back up. And ease off. Take a second. Now we're going to rotate the other way. So switch your hands. Drive the stick down lightly, 20%. Glutes tight. Rotate to the right now. Back up. Nice and slow and control. Let's go again. Squeeze those glutes. Do not let those hips open up with the shoulders. The shoulders should effectively be perpendicular to the hips. 2, one more time. Keep lightly driving that stick into the wall here. Back up. 3, and ease off. Excellent. Now we're going to get into working with extension and rotation. We're going to place this long stick down. We're going to pick the short stick back up again. We're going to take the stick and place it behind our mid-back. You want it at the crux of our elbows here. So I want my hands to effectively right about where my rib cage is. It's not a necessity for it to be there, but if you're going to feel a little more comfortable having hands on your rib cage, let's go ahead and go with that. I'm going to have a shoulder width stance, toes are forward here. We're going to start by working with the upper body first, then the hips, and then we're going to segment the feet into it. So we're going to get a full body warm up here. From this position here, hands on the rib cage, I want to create some extension, so I'm going to drive my elbows forward, and that's going to create extension in the upper back and mid back here. That's what we want. Keeping the hips where they're at, squeeze the glutes, make sure you lock those hips into extension, From here, I'm going to drive my left hand forward. Right hand comes back. So I'm going to open up to my right, come back to center, and then I'm going to drive my right elbow forward. And a good cue to think about is as you rotate to the left, drive your left hip going forward here. Back to center, to the right. Make sure you're breathing here. Back to center, rotate to the left, drive that left or right elbow forward. Back to center, rotate to the right, go to that left elbow across. Excellent, back to center, and then rotate to the left. Back to center. Now we segment the hips into it. I'm going to drive that left elbow across, and notice my hips are rotating, so you should get further rotation. Back to center. Now I'm going to rotate to the left, driving that right arm across, or right elbow across. Back to center. Rotate to the right. Back to center. Rotate to the left. Breathe. Back to center. Rotate to the right one more time. Back to center. And rotate to the left. Back to center. Now we're going to pivot the feet here. So I'm actually going to turn forward for this one. From here, same position, driving those elbows forward. Nice, good extension. I'm going to rotate to the left first, driving that right elbow. I'm pivoting this right foot. I'm internally rotating this hip as much as I can, which is actually creating a stretch on my left hip here. Back to center, rotate to the right, pivot that left foot, keep that right foot pointed forward. Back to center, rotate to the left, pivot your right foot. Back to center, rotate to the right. Excellent. One more time each way. To the left. Excellent. Now to the right. Back to center. And ease off. Excellent. Really good way to, again, segment everything, get everything working all synergistically at the same time, particularly if you're going to do any kind of rotational based exercise. We're going to pick up both long sticks here. We're going to go with pelvic tilt. I'm going to go with a wide stance. For this one, I like to go a little bit wider than usual, just so we can get a little bit more challenge on the pelvis and the hips here. If you're more narrow, you're not going to get as much of a stretch as you kind of work with those tissues or work with that movement. So I'm going to go with a relatively wide stance. Feet are mostly pointed forward. You can have a slight toe out angle if you'd like. Bottom of the sticks are angled in towards me. Hands are roughly about shoulder height. I'm going to squat down a little bit. Nice, good horse stance. Keeping the spine up nice and tall. I'm going to lightly drive those sticks into the floor, only about 20% tension. I'm going to do a posterior tilt, driving my knees out away from one another, so I'm abducting the hips. Then I'm going to go into an anterior tilt, tucking my pelvis the opposite way. So you should feel the lower back tissues or mid back tissues as well tighten. Posterior tilt, squeeze those glutes, drive those knees out. Anterior tilt. Good. Posterior tilt. Breathe. Anterior tilt. Posterior tilt. Excellent. Anterior tilt. Come back into that posterior tilt. Hold that position. We're going to do hip bumps. So I'm going to bump my right hip up. Right glute should fire. Then bump my left hip up. Left glute should fire. Keep driving those sticks down. Bump the right hip. Excellent. Left hip. Right hip. Left hip. right hip, and left hip. Back to center, and ease off. Excellent. Take a second. This is where we get into the fun stuff. So if you have the TRX next to you, perfect. We're just going to get into our next section here. All right, so we should have all our equipment right next to us. We're now going to get into the very first drill we're going to do is we're going to utilize the stick to create tension, particularly with that arm line, working with the push-up position. This is where we're going to need the sliders specifically, or furniture sliders. So I have two here with me. This floor's a little tacky, so it's actually going to make it a little harder for me to actually get that rotation that I want. I'm going to place these on the floor here. Now the push-up position that you're going to go with is going to be whatever's most comfortable for you, or whatever doesn't cause the least amount of pain, or whatever doesn't cause any discomfort or any pain. Always remember, ranges of motion that are discomfort or uncomfortable or pain or cause pain, get out of those ranges of motion. We're going to use a short stick here to create that tension, and then we're going to go into doing 10 push-ups. I want you to go with the grip width that you tend to do for your push-ups. So if you're going out here, but your push-ups are here, this is not really going to have that much carryover. So I'm going to step back. Feet are going to be pointed forward, roughly about hip width. You can go with the narrow stance. It's typically where your push-up position happens to be, but we're just going to go with hip width here. Toes are pointed forward. I'm going to go with my push-up position grip here, which is a little wider than shoulder width at this point. From this position, I'm going with an overhand grip, going with palms facing towards the floor. What I'm going to do from this position here is I'm going to grip the stick at 60% tension. So you should be feeling all the tissues in the arm line light up. Now what I'm going to do from this position, I'm going to compress the stick and shorten, starting at 20%, 30%, 40, 50. You should notice a real good increase in tension on the pecs. 60, 70, and ease off. Excellent. Should be feeling the pecs kind of light up here. We're going to place the stick down. This is where we go to the sliders. I'm going to go down into my push-up position. I'm going to start with it nice and tall. Keep your hips up, nice and high. Core is engaged. We're going to start off in a neutral position here, and I'm going to slowly lower myself to the floor, elbows in at about a 45-degree angle. As I push up, I'm going to rotate the sliders in to that lockout position, bring them back to neutral as I come down, push up, internally rotate them, bring them back to neutral as I come down, push up, internally rotate, that's 3, back down, push up, 4, down, up, 5, down, up, 6, down, up, 7, down, up, 8, down, up, 9, one more time, down, up, 10, ease off. Take a second, shake your arms out a little bit. Now, the motion, as we do the push-ups, is you're effectively internally rotating those shoulders. You should notice a bigger connection to the pec and that arm line there as we do that. Well, as you're coming down, you are rotating back to that neutral position. It's a really good way to kind of work with the rotational aspects of the shoulder as we do this here, but it allows us to create, again, further connection to those anterior arm lines, especially the pec tissues. We're gonna go back to the activation drill again. Gonna go with that same grip width here. Standing up nice and tall. Figure out your grip width. Stick is at shoulder height. Grip the stick 60%. Compress the stick 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and 70. And slowly ease off. Show for relief. Now we're going to go back into the push-ups again. Also, if you want to make this a little bit more challenging, elevate your feet. If it's a little bit too much of a challenge, find something for you to kind of set up once you're at a little bit of an incline, like a chair or a bench. It's totally fine. So we can go back to the floor here. We're gonna do that same thing. Hands are on the sliders. Get into that tall push-up position here. Make sure the core is engaged. Down, up, 1, down, up, 2, down, up, 3, down, up, 4, down, up, 5, down, up, 6, down, up, 7, down, up, 8, down, up, 9, down, up, 10. Excellent, good. Whew. It's a hard one. It's a way to make push-ups much harder. But again, adding that internal rotation or effectively kind of adding in that tensioning makes it a little bit more effective, especially if you don't connect to your pecs really well, or you just can't get that arm line drive. Now, I'm gonna set up with the TRX. This is where we're gonna get into working with the curls as well as tricep extensions. We are gonna be activating our core as we do this, so we're not gonna do this lazily. We wanna make sure that we actually have good tension throughout the body. I'm gonna grab our TRX here, and I'm gonna start the angle that you're gonna be at. You don't wanna start at too steep of an angle. You wanna kind of have a little more of an upright angle, at least for the curls. The important part of this is we need to keep the elbows high. The cool thing about this is we can actually curl our wrist in as we actually do this. So we're gonna start at a little bit of an angle, nothing too crazy. And from here, we're gonna do 8 reps. But as we curl up, I want you to curl that wrist in. You're gonna get a much bigger line of activation here. So from here, you're gonna be roughly about shoulder width. Palms are up. And from here, I'm gonna curl in. And as I do that, I'm gonna curl my wrist in, flex my wrist. And then as I go back out, I'm going to straighten my wrist back out. Curl back in. 2. Nice and controlled, curl. 3. Curl. 4. Curl. 5. Curl. 6. Curl. 7. One more time. Curl. 8. Excellent. Ease off. Now we immediately turn around, go right into those tricep extensions here. Again, we're gonna hold a little bit of a plank position, so it's gonna be a little challenging. So figure out what distance or what angle you wanna be at. If you're at a more of a sharper angle, it's going to be a lot harder. So keep that in mind. Elbows need to stay in the same position that they start off in. So if I'm here, I don't want my shoulders to be moving here, back and forth. So take like a relatively wide stance, roughly about shoulder width. I'm gonna extend my hands out. This is already gonna create some core tension. What I'm gonna do from here is I'm going to bend my elbows, come forward, and then extend. That's one. Adjust as you need to. Down, up, two, down, up, three, down, up, four, down, up, five, down, up, six, two more, core tight, down, up, seven, one more time, down, up, eight. Excellent. Ease off. We're gonna stretch out those forearms a little bit real quick. We're gonna take the short stick, and I'm gonna grip the stick. I want the long side to be down here. I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna flip the long side away from my center line, bring it up, and then across. We're gonna get a stretch in that forearm here. You wanna keep that right arm straight. No specific stance for this. But you wanna hold here. You're gonna get a stretch on the top of that forearm here. Gonna come out. Then we're gonna switch. Left hand. Most of the stick is at the bottom or down towards the pinky. Grab with the other hand. Come over the top. Straighten that arm out. We're gonna hold this here and try to keep your fingers on the stick. Your finger starts to come off, you lose that stretch. So make sure you're gripping the stick here. Breathe. It's a nice little pre-stretch before the next set. We're gonna come out, nice and slow. Let's get into another set again. Move you guys in a little closer here. Remember, try to remember where that angle was the last time you did the last set. Maybe make it more challenging. Just bring your feet forward a smidge more. So same thing, starting here, palms up, curl in. One, up. Two, up, three, up, four, up, five, up, six, up, seven, one more time, up, eight, and ease off. Now we're into the skull crushers or tricep extensions. Again, you can make this set a little more challenging, stepping back a little bit more, right? Just going to get into position. Make sure you're holding it, keeping a nice, good, tight core. We don't want back movement. Lock it in. So tuck that pelvis, drop the ribs down, arms are out. Up. One. Down. Up. Two. You want to think about is if the handles are a bar, you don't want that to hit your head. Down, up, three, down, up, four, down, up, five, three more, up, six, two more, core tight, seven, one more time, and eight. Excellent. Good. Now we're going to get into reverse fly. We're going to use the sticks as a way to kind of warm up that motion since we are going to be at a slightly elbow bent position. Bringing those arms out nice and wide, really going for the upper back activation. Posterior arm line. We're going to use the two tall sticks in order to get a little bit of a warm up. So we're going to do an isometric here. I'm going to have the bottoms of the sticks angled behind me. The ramp, corner of a wall, something stable for you to drive the sticks into. I'm going to have my hands on the ends of the sticks here. What I'm going to do from this position, keeping a slight bend to the elbows. You don't want to lock them out. Keep a slight bend, so soft elbow. I'm going to have my feet roughly about shoulder width, toes are forward. I want to lightly drive those sticks back, about roughly 30% tension, and I'm going to hinge. Only hinge as far as it's most comfortable. You don't need to hinge all the way down. You're gonna kind of come up in a little bit of a slightly open angle here. From here, keep driving those sticks down 30%. Bring the elbows back as far as you can, so driving those sticks down. Hold this position. And don't let your head peacock forward. Pull that chin back. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Back down nice and slow. Keep driving the sticks back. Stand up and ease off. Let's get onto the TRX. Same rules apply. If you're at a sharper angle, it makes it a lot harder. Start off at a tall angle position. So bring my feet back here. Make sure I'm nice and tall. Elbows are still bent. Arms come straight, the arms stay in line with the shoulders, with the height of the shoulders here. Palms are in, thumbs are up, facing towards the ceiling. Gonna pull, slide into the elbows, come back under control. That's 1. Pull up. 2. Under control, come back. Up. 3. Core engaged, nice and tight. Up. 4. One more time. Up. 5. Back under control. And ease off. Let's go back to that isometric hold one last time here, one last time. And again, we're not trying to create a ton of tension. We're just trying to warm up that motion, feel what the tension is like in the upper back, and that arm line here. So we should be feeling those shoulder blades working pretty hard as we do this isometric. So try to line up in that same position. Sticks are behind, arms are slightly bent. Drive the sticks back 30% here. Don't let the shoulders come up. Keep them down. Hinge. Get to a nice, good, comfortable position here. Bring those elbows out as far as you can. Slight bend to the elbows. Keep driving those sticks into the wall. Hold. Breathe. 3, 2, 1. Back down. Nice and slow. Stand up and ease off. Now let's go back to the TRX one last time, folks. Doing good. Palms are in, facing one another. Again, if you want a challenge, bring your feet forward a little bit more. Create more of an angle here. Slight bend to the elbows. Pull them straight out to the side. Pull up. 1. Back slow. You shouldn't be going faster than me here. Pull. 2. Back slow. Pull. 3. Back slow. Breathe. Pull. 4. Come back nice and slow. One more time. Pull. Back nice and slow. And ease off. Excellent. Really good way. Nice good upper body day today, right? Let's go and get into the stretching. Let's go ahead and stretch out the chest, the shoulders. Let's actually work on stretching out those triceps too. We're gonna use the 2 long sticks here. And I'm gonna go with a split stance. Let me change it. All right, so we are now gonna get into what I like to call the finish line stretch. Now for this one, we're gonna have the stick, we're gonna kind of set up in the same way that we do for a double monkey hang here. We're gonna have the bottom of the sticks roughly about in line with the heel of my front foot. It's the only difference. Hands are gonna be roughly about face height. We wanna take a relatively big split. From this position here, arms are straight out. I wanna lightly drive those sticks into the ground. about 20%. We're gonna hold this stretch for 30 seconds. I'm going to shift my torso going down towards the floor here. And I wanna keep the sticks roughly going in the same line as my shoulders. Gonna get a nice big stretch in the chest, and we are actually hanging here. So you should feel weight in your hands. You can put as much weight on that front leg as you'd like. If it's too much, take some off. Breathe, slowly come out. Let's go ahead and switch legs just so we can switch sides here. Drive the stick down, 20%. Hinge forward. Make sure you're breathing here. Excellent. 3, 2, 1. Ease off. Let's go ahead and switch sides again. This time it's going to be a little different. We're going to bring the sticks down towards our hips. So instead of it being at roughly about shoulder height or same level as the shoulders, we're now going to bring the hands closer to the hips. We're going to get a little bit of a different stretch here, folks. Lightly drive the stick down, 20% yet again. Hinge forward. Now bring the sticks down towards the hips, and you're going to internally rotate those arms. Going to get a stretch more so in the front of those shoulders here. Hold. Breathe. Excellent. Ease off. Nice and slow. And let's go ahead and switch sides. Step back with that right. 20%. While you drive the sticks down. Hinge forward. Bring those hands down towards the hips. Breathe. Doing good, folks. Doing good. Three, 2, 1. Slowly come up and ease off. Now we're going to get into working with a little bit of shoulder extension or getting our shoulder into this position here. We're just going to kind of work in and out of this stretch. We're not going to do an 8 or 10 second hold. The holds are going to be about roughly 3 seconds, but we're going to be moving in and out of the stretch repeatedly here. Almost treat it like it's repetitions. I'm going to have my feet roughly about shoulder width apart. Toes are forward. Both sticks are going to be right on the outside of both feet here, roughly about where the balls of my feet are. I'm going to have my hands, thumb facing down towards the floor. Arms are going to be extended. You can start at the rib cage if you'd like, or you can start up a little higher depending on your mobility. From here, I'm going to lightly drive the sticks down about 20%. I'm going to bring the sticks out. I want to keep my shoulders down. I don't want them to rotate forward. So try to keep them in extension. 3, 2, 1. Back forward. Back out again. 3, 2, 1. Back forward. Gonna get a nice big stretch in the biceps here. Pull back. 3, 2, 1. Back forward. Let's go one more time. Hold 3, 2, 1. Back forward. And ease off. Let's go ahead and finish out with stretching those triceps here. Now for this stretch, We are going to need that top arm to be up in a position like this. And we are actually going to be leaning, creating a little bit of tension. I'm going to start with my right hand, so thumb facing down towards the floor. Bring it behind my back, and I want my left hand. You can have this hand with your palm facing forward. What we really need to do with this arm is like really pull that left hand going down towards the floor here. So you'll create a little bit of a bigger stretch. Now we're going to have the right arm, or that's gripping the end of the stick here. You want to make sure to drive that elbow up. So try to get your bicep close to your ear, and then pull down with that left arm here. So if I turn it around, this is what it looks like. What I'm going to do from this position, I'm going to laterally tilt towards my left. So pulling with that left arm, you're going to get a stretch in that lat and that tricep here. Back up, ease off. Let's go into it again. You can move that left hand up a little higher so you can create a little bit more tension by pulling down. Pull down. We're going to keep that right arm close to the ear, or bicep close to the ear here. Laterally flex over to the left. Get a nice light stretch in that tricep here. 3, 2, 1. Back up and ease off. And now we're going to switch sides. Now we're going to go with the left hand, thumb facing down towards the floor. Grip the stick, adjust your hand as you need to. We're going to pull it down with the right, pull the stick down with the right hand. Elbow is close to the ear. Laterally flex to your right, creating more length on that left side. You might notice that left lateral line is nice and tight, right? From what you want to do is, as we do this, breathe, good, excellent, come back to neutral, ease off. This is a real good way to stretch out the tricep as well as get that lateral line. Pull the stick down, elbow close to the ear, laterally flex to the right. Breathe. 3, 2, 1. Come back up, nice and easy, and relax. And that, my friends, concludes today's stick mobility class. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. I hope everybody had a good class. Be sure to catch us on Instagram Live and the rest of our class on YouTube. I will be sure to catch you all later. Stay safe. Have a good one.